A dusty hat and a faded name.
Sam rummaged through his grandfather's old chest, his fingers tracing the worn edges of forgotten treasures. Each item he pulled out seemed to whisper stories of a bygone era, tales of adventure and history that had long been forgotten. He lifted a dusty felt hat, the brim misshapen with time. The hat felt heavy in his hands, not just from the weight of the years, but from the weight of the memories it carried. A name was etched inside the leather band, Jack Dawson. The letters were faint, almost erased by time, but still legible enough to spark curiosity. Who was this Jack Dawson, Sam wondered, and what stories did this hat hold? He imagined the man who once wore it, the places it had been, and the events it had witnessed.
Grandpa, who was Jack Dawson? Sam's voice was filled with curiosity and a hint of excitement.
Intrigued, Sam showed the hat to his grandfather. He hoped that his grandfather could shed some light on the mystery of Jack Dawson. His grandfather's eyes softened, and a wistful smile touched his lips. It was clear that the name Jack Dawson brought back a flood of memories.
Ah, Jack. He was a good man, a brave soldier. His voice was filled with a mix of pride and sorrow. He fought in the Great War, at a place called Gallipoli. It was a brutal campaign, but Jack was one of the best.
Sam had heard stories about the war, but they had always seemed like distant legends. Stories told in history books and old movies, far removed from his own life. Now, holding Jack's hat, he felt a connection to the past, a burning desire to learn more about this Anzac soldier. The hat was no longer just an old, dusty relic. It was a link to a real person, a hero who had lived, fought, and perhaps even died for his country. Sam knew that he had to uncover the stories behind this hat, to honor the memory of Jack Dawson and the countless others who had served alongside him.
Shush!
Answering the call, Jack's adventure begins. He steps onto the train, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The journey ahead is unknown, but Jack is determined to face it head-on. In the heart of Australia, news of war spread like wildfire. The headlines screamed of battles and bravery, capturing the imagination of young men across the nation. Young men, eager for adventure and driven by a sense of duty, flocked to enlist. The recruitment offices were bustling with activity, filled with the energy and enthusiasm of youth ready to serve. Jack Dawson was one of them. With a firm hand, he signed his enlistment papers, his mind racing with thoughts of the journey ahead. He was a young man full of life, with a quick wit and a twinkle in his eye. His friends often remarked on his infectious enthusiasm and boundless energy. "The thought of war both excites and scares me," Jack wrote in a letter to his family. He knew the risks but felt a deep sense of responsibility. "But I can't ignore the call to serve my country." His resolve was unwavering, fueled by a sense of patriotism and duty. He imagined himself a hero, returning home with stories of bravery and valor. The dreams of glory kept him going, even as the reality of war loomed large. He bid farewell to his family, his heart heavy with a mixture of fear and anticipation. The goodbyes were filled with tears and promises to return, as Jack embarked on the greatest adventure of his life. Brothers in arms. The journey to a new world. It was a voyage that would test their resolve and camaraderie. Packed like sardines on a ship bound for a distant land, Jack and his mates faced the vast unknown. The sea stretched endlessly before them, a daunting reminder of the challenges ahead. The journey was long and arduous, filled with cramped quarters and seasickness. Every wave that rocked the ship was a test of their endurance, and every day felt like an eternity. But amidst the discomfort, a strong bond began to form. They found solace in each other's company, sharing stories of home and dreams of the future.
Hey Jack, got any good jokes to pass the time? The days are long, and we could use a good laugh.
Always, Tom. Why did the Scarecrow win an award? because he was outstanding in his field. The laughter was infectious, spreading through the ranks and lifting their spirits. In those moments, the war seemed a distant reality. They shared stories, jokes, and fears, their laughter echoing across the waves. Each shared moment brought them closer, turning strangers into friends. They played cards, wrote letters home, and dreamed of the day they would return as heroes. The letters were filled with promises of return and tales of bravery yet to come. They were more than just soldiers. They were brothers in arms, bound together by a shared purpose. Their unity was their strength, and it would carry them through the trials that lay ahead. Gallipoli's shores, courage under fire. The idyllic shores of Gallipoli belied the horrors that awaited. As Jack's landing craft approached the beach, the air crackled with the sounds of gunfire. Chaos reigned supreme.
Stay low, keep moving.
Men scrambled for cover, their faces etched with fear and determination. Jack, his heart pounding in his chest, charged into the fray, his rifle spitting fire. He had never felt so alive, so terrified, so connected to the men fighting alongside him.
We've got your back, Jack.
And in that moment, amidst the chaos and the fear, Jack knew he was not alone. Life in the trenches was a grueling test of endurance.
The stench of death and decay permeated the air.
Days blurred into nights, punctuated by the constant threat of enemy fire.
Yet even in the face of unimaginable hardship, the Anzac spirit endured.
They found humor in the darkest of times, sharing stories, songs, and meager rations.
They wrote letters home, filled with longing for loved ones and a yearning for peace.
They were bound together by an unbreakable bond of mateship, forged in the fires of war. The war finally ended, but victory came at a heavy price. Jack, forever changed by the horrors he had witnessed, returned home a different man. The twinkle in his eye had dimmed, replaced by a haunted look that spoke of unspeakable things. He carried the scars of war, both visible and invisible. He struggled to readjust to civilian life, haunted by nightmares and memories he couldn't escape. But he never forgot the mates he lost, the sacrifices they made, and the enduring spirit of Anzac.
The story of Jack Dawson, the Anzac soldier, captivated Sam's imagination. He devoured every word his grandfather shared, piecing together the fragments of a life lived with courage and sacrifice. He learned about the horrors of war, the bonds of mateship, and the true meaning of Anzac Day. He realized that the hat wasn't just a dusty relic. It was a symbol of bravery, a reminder of the sacrifices made by countless men and women who served their country. Sam vowed to honor Jack's memory by keeping his story alive.
Anzac Day is more than just a public holiday. It's a day of remembrance, a time to honor the courage, sacrifice, and mateship of the Anzacs. It's a time to reflect on the futility of war and the importance of peace. It's a time to pay tribute to all those who have served and continue to serve our country. It's a time to ensure that their legacy lives on, inspiring future generations to strive for a better, more peaceful world.
We can all play a part in honoring the Anzac legacy. Attend a dawn service, lay a wreath at a war memorial, visit a war museum, donate to a veterans charity, share the stories of the Anzacs with your family and friends. Most importantly, remember the values that the Anzacs fought and died for: courage, mateship, sacrifice, and endurance. Let their spirit inspire us to live lives worthy of their sacrifice, lest we forget.